Welcome back to the Wellness with Delaney podcast. Today, I'm sitting down with Nikki Roberson, or as you may know her, Nikki R. Face It. She is a holistic esthetician and a health coach, as well as a social media phenomenon, sharing skin health tips, circulation, muscle strength, and lymphatic tips so that we can age beautifully and have healthy, gorgeous skin no matter what age we are. Nikki, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Delaney. It's always wonderful to be able to spread the word about how to do self-care and make yourself more vibrant.
Oh, I am so excited to get into it with you today. So, what is the difference between a holistic esthetician and a conventional esthetician?
So just in that root word, whole means we take into account everything that's going on with a person internally, in their environment, within their mindset, spiritually, because all of those things have an effect on the being. So that's the key difference, and it's a huge difference. Whereas
Absolutely.
a conventional esthetician will examine the skin, they'll do some touching and look for feedback on what's going on the surface. So it's really just a surface related approach to the skin.
Gotcha. Okay. And so that makes sense with a lot of the stuff you're doing as far as the lymphatic system, the muscles, all that. That's all internal, but it shows on the outside. So
hmm
that totally does track. So, with that, why is lymphatic health and the lymphatic system so important for outer skin health?
Well, it's the detoxification, it's the garbage man for your body. So your lymphatic system is very much connected to your circulatory system in that a lot of the lymphatic vessels go right alongside just your capillaries. And what they do is they suck up all of the waste that's in the tissues that the cells put there. There's bacteria, there's viruses, there's cancer cells, there's free radical damage. So your lymphatic system basically brings that in and takes it to the lymph nodes. It clears it. It also carries your immune cells that help fight those things. So when the lymphatic system isn't working properly, detoxification of the body isn't optimal. And when it's not optimal, it's like living in a dirty fish tank. So the cells are affected, organs can be affected, communication can be affected, all of those things. So it's important to have good lymphatics.
Wow. Okay. So if somebody, let's say they're experiencing some like early aging or acne, could that be connected to the lymphatic system, not just to their skincare?
Oh, most definitely. Yeah. Yes. And I like to say early aging. Aging is a word that is defined in a way that it seems like it's based on your years. And while, yes, some of it is based on your years, really, in my opinion, aging is based on having good movement within the tissues, having good circulation, lymphatic fluid flow, and fascia that's not tense, muscles that aren't tense.
Okay, yeah. So if somebody then wants to start promoting their lymphatic health at home and wants to see that glow up in this way, like how would they go about doing that?
Well, you can do manual lymphatic drainage. There's ways to do it on the face. You can do it for the body. You can also just by breathing deeply, that stimulates lymphatic drainage. By exercising, walking, jumping on a trampoline, jumping rope, doing yoga, Pilates, those are other ways to support lymphatic drainage, as well as eating. You have a lot of lymph here in the stomach. And just by eating, that helps move lymphatic fluid. So those are the ways that you can promote lymphatic drainage. You could do dry brushing. So those are examples of ways you can assist it.
I love that. I personally go get lymphatic massages monthly and they're a pretty pricey treatment. So, and like I love to do my drainage throughout the day, like my gua sha, dry brushing, whatever in between. But I love that you don't have to go spend $150 to have lymphatic drainage. I do it because I enjoy it and it feels
Oh,
good,
it's a treat,
but
right?
it's such a treat. But I'm like, you don't have to spend that money. It can be as
No.
simple as, I mean, you technically don't even need a gua sha, right? You could use your hands
I
for a
like
lot of
doing
it.
it with my hands. The reason why I like using my hands is when you're using a gua sha, you're not in touch with what's going on, and actually your lymph vessels are just below the surface. So the type of pressure that you need to use is no more than just pushing a quarter, as if you were pushing a quarter across the skin. Because if you go too deep, then you're compressing those lymph vessels and you're not moving the tissue. You're actually working muscles, you're working fascia, which that's good. But if your intention is to move lymph, then it's light. So, like if I'm doing lymphatic drainage, I start always here at the terminus. This is where all of the lymph fluid in the body originally makes its way. The left side is everything below the waist, left side of the body, left side of the head drains here. The right side is waist up to top of the head, drains here, but then eventually everything makes its way to the subclavian vein. So no matter what you're doing, and if you do nothing in a day, one of the best things you can do is just come right here, this triangle below the ear, and just give yourself 10 very light movements. And that helps with emptying out maybe just a little backup of lymph. And so what backs up lymph is tightness in the tissues. So I know that there's a lot to be said about lymphatic fluid, and it's important, but you also have to understand too that if the body is tight, if we have tight muscles, if we have tight fascia, that has to be addressed in order for lymph to flow. So, for example, if you have really tight calves, um, the fluid from the bottom of the body can be inhibited from moving up. So, that's why I promote yoga and Pilates and stretching to create more room in the tissues to allow for the flow. So
Gotcha.
it's not just a one thing. It's not just lymph. It's everything. It's
Yeah.
holistic.
I love that. No, I love that every system of the body is connected. So when we treat them as connected, we're going to see so much better results. Okay, so you mentioned that a lot of people are going maybe a little bit too deep when they're
Mhm.
doing their self massage, especially that gua sha. And I love that gua sha has become really popular, especially with like the 20s and 30s crowd. It's kind of like an Instagram trend, if you will. With
Yes.
one concern with that might be that people are going into it not knowing what they're doing. So,
Mhm.
what are some common mistakes that you see when it comes to like social media, lymphatic massage, and gua sha, and ways that the girls can rectify it so that they can get the best results?
Yes. So gua sha, actually, the name means to make red, to redden the fluid. So traditional Chinese gua sha actually goes deep. And the purpose of it is to move the not just the lymph, but really it's more like the fascia and the lymph. It's to help that lifeblood within the body to flow. And so you can do gua sha to stimulate lymph, but if you're going to do that, I have a gua sha tool here. If you're going to just stimulate lymph, then you're not going to go very hard. You're just really taking the tool and placing it flat against the skin and moving it lightly. And in my opinion, if you're going to do that, just use your hands. You're going to get more in touch with what's going on and you're going to feel the body. Plus, when you're touching your body with a tool, there's no feedback to the brain. But when you're touching it with your hands, the sensory um, nerves and touching with the hand sends information back to the brain. So we're getting more than just the gua sha movement. We're getting, oh my goodness, the stimulation of our brain from our hands on there. I mean, I mean, if you don't have a gua sha tool there, but if you take a gua sha tool and move it across your arm, and then you take your hand and move it across your arm, you can feel it, right? You can feel all
Mhm.
the sensory perceptions of the body. So that's why I like using my hands. I like using a gua sha for deeper work to help loosen fascia and also to help me to understand where I might have tightness. Now, you're saying, what are some common misconceptions? I think one of the biggest misconceptions is where to start and where to go from there and then work your way back. So, for example, if I'm going to work on my face, I don't start up here because lymph clears here. And so if this isn't clear and I'm working up here, then it's only going to go so far. It's just like being in a traffic jam and the light turns green. If you're at the back of the line, you're not moving forward until everybody in front of you goes. It's the same thing
Mm.
with lymph. So knowing that you start um, at always, whether you're working on the body or the face, always start at the terminus, which is this area. And then if you're working on the arm, you work from here down to the wrist and then back up. We don't start at the hands and do brushing. No, no, no. We start here, brush, and then move our way down, and then we can move our way back up.
That's so good to know because I know a lot of people with dry brushing will start like at the feet,
Yeah,
work up, the hands work up, but we're not starting at the lymph nodes. And it's kind of like so if you clean your tub, but you have a clogged drain, like all that
exactly.
gunk just comes back up. So that's
Yes.
that's good to know. I've been guilty of like I'll like stimulate my lymph nodes and then start at the feet. So I'm gonna change how I do that and start like working my way down and back up. That's actually super, super good to know. Okay, so what are your thoughts on I've heard some different thoughts. What are your thoughts on underwire bras? Do they block lymphatic drainage?
Oh my goodness, yes. Uh, I honestly feel that I believe that bras do contribute to uh, clogged lymphs, which can affect cancer.
Mm,
So yes, definitely underwire bras, no, no. And when you take your bra off at night, first of all, take it off as soon as you can. Like get home from work, flip that baby off, and let the girls go. And then take a look at your body and see if you have any red lines. Because if you have red lines where you've removed that bra, that's cut off lymph. Because remember, lymph is just below the surface. And if we see a red line, that means it's compressed down to the muscle. So there's been no lymph flow there. So take that bra off and do a little bit of massage over to the side, working the tissue so that you can help with that flow. But yes, and it's the same with underwear. Like, is the underwear tight? Are your pants tight? Take a look at your socks, your shoes, anywhere where you see any type of redness that's inhibited lymph flow.
that is so good to know because so there's I one thing I do not understand, I think you'll probably get this better than I do, is like some people wear compression, like compression socks or compression pants, right, for lymphatic flow, but then it also cuts off your flow. So like
I know.
how does it work?
Well, in certain medical conditions, it's warranted. Um, and in some instances, I don't know why they do it. I love, like, for example, my mom had a stroke about a week ago. She's totally
I'm sorry.
recovered.
Oh, good.
Thank you. They totally recovered. She got to the hospital in time and they administered the things she needed. So she's doing fantastic. But while she was in the hospital, instead of compression socks, what they did was they put a kind of a wrap around her that opened and closed and it pumped. And that's the key. And what you're talking about with compression socks, that's what I was referring to earlier with the calves, that if your calves are tight and they're not allowing flow, then you're going to have issues. So it's important to look at your feet and observe the health of them. So, for example, how are your arches? Are your arches falling? How are your toes? Are they crossing over? Um, and also look at the strength of your calves. So, one of the ways you can move lymph fluid is by going up and down on your calf. Lymph fluid does not have, or your lymph system does not have a pump. Unlike your heart, or unlike your circulatory system, your heart pumps and it moves your blood. So your lymph system it's just a one-way system and it doesn't have anything to push it. So what pushes it is your deep breathing, diaphragmatic breathing, your eating that also pushes it, your stretching, putting legs up on the wall, doing Pilates, where you're bringing your head below your heart and you're bringing your legs up above, or you're going up on your toes. Those your calves are basically the pump for the bottom of your body. So by just going and doing like calf exercises where you're going up on your toes and your toes are spread and you're going up and coming down slowly, um, that is what moves lymph fluid in the bottom of the body. And so,
Wow.
yeah, the whole compression socks, it doesn't make sense to me, it's like, let's do some calf lifts.
Okay, well, I'm so glad I asked you because I've always been so confused about that personally.
Mhm.
The calves, I love that because I know being in the gym community, a lot of people are skipping calves. So it's not just about the aesthetics, it's about your lymphatic health, which will change your entire life. And that's so important. So I'm so glad we got into that. Okay, so we're kind of talking about the muscles now. So it's a good segue. How does muscle strength and fascia play into beautiful skin?
So that is a key concept that I don't think a lot of people understand. And that is when you're in the gym, you need to do exercises that not only build up the muscle, and we don't understand that your strength comes from your muscles and your fascia. So you build up muscle, and then your fascia goes around the muscles, it goes in and through the muscles, it goes in and out of every organ. And your fascia can be in many different forms. It can be in a more jelly like form, it can be more fibrous, but it is truly what helps support the muscles. So, for example, if you're in a car accident and your head goes forward and back, so you have muscles in the front and the back, but your fascia then comes to play and starts to hold those muscles in place while the body heals. And your fascia helps to protect you from that type of injury happening again. And when you're, how do I say this? Your fascia remembers all of the things that you do, all of the injuries, all of the emotions. It holds your emotions. And in order to strengthen your body, you have to do exercises in a way that doesn't just isolate a muscle, because your true strength is the combination of your muscles and your fascia. So, exercises that are both isotonic, so repetitive, and isometric, stationary, that help to build it in all directions. You have to think about muscle strength being built with fascia in all different directions. So, for example, if I'm doing a plank and I'm just on my arms and I'm holding myself, yeah, up, yes, that's helping create strength. But now if I bring, I'm still holding that plank, but I'm bringing my hands, picturing my hands going towards my feet and my feet going towards my hands, that's now creating a different vector of strength. So building the strength of the muscles in all direction incorporates your muscles and your fascia. Does that make sense? I hope so.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And it's so important. I love, once again, it's that holistic approach to taking care of the inside for the outside beauty. Okay, I want to touch on, you mentioned that the fascia holds trauma, whether it's physical or emotional. And I find that so fascinating. A lot of people don't realize that their bodies could be holding on to trauma from years ago or are stressed. So if somebody, let's say somebody has gone through like extreme emotional stress or is going through an emotional time, maybe their fascia is holding on to that, how would that show on their face as far as their skin?
Yes. And so, quite often, what happens when we're under a lot of stress, we tend to go in. It's kind of a protector of the heart. The head comes forward, the shoulders come forward. Even the face, how it shows up on the face is everything comes downward. And so, in order to correct that, we need to rotate the shoulders out. We need to strengthen the neck, tuck the chin, bring the top of the head up. We need to um, focus on relieving tension in the scalp, because as we come forward, the neck tightens, the scalp tightens, this area becomes tight, and the nose area comes tight. So you might find you get more allergies, more eye issues, because we're forward and down like that.
Wow. That is really fascinating. So it's like literally manifesting in how you hold yourself, which is going to lead to not just aesthetic issues, but more health issues down the road. So with all of this muscle, so we're learning that muscle health is really important. I'm assuming the muscles in your face are also very important. So as a holistic esthetician, what are your views then on like Botox or Dysport or other like muscle paralysis neurotoxins?
Yeah, so that's a great segue into that, isn't it? Because if we're looking at forehead wrinkles and we're doing injections to stop the accordioning of the forehead by raising our eyes, then it really is just focusing on a symptom, which is this muscle responding to the eyes being raised while this area is tight. So I really don't like to think of things like frownies and muscle training, fascia work as a Botox alternative. I look at it as a root cause addresser. So
Mm,
so Botox is really a symptom addresser. It is not a root cause addresser. And so when you come to understand that maybe you're getting forehead wrinkles because the back of the neck is tight, the scalp is tight, and as a result, so just look at what happens to my forehead when this is tight and I raise my
mhm.
eyes. There we go. That's what that is. So now sure, addressing that with Botox is going to stop that muscle when I raise my eyes. But in the meantime, we're not addressing the fact that we have circulation coming up through the back of the neck that's going to the brain to nourish the brain. We have lymphatic fluid that's coming out through the back, also through the front of the face. That then, if we're not moving this, what happens here is when you don't have movement in tissue, understand we have fascia in there, and fascia likes lubrication. In fact, when the tissues are moving, the fascia actually creates hydration. There are cells called fasciocytes that, with the movement of the body, create hydration in the body. When we stop that movement, these tissues get sticky. We lose circulation, we lose detoxification of the area. So, really, it addresses root cause and then causes other things.
Wow, okay. So it can lead to it's not just, my big concern with all the injections has always been like the neurotoxin component.
Oh, yeah.
And but
Aside from that, yes.
yeah, no, but what I actually am learning today from you, I'm so fascinated by is the fact that it also can affect your fascia on a deep level. It has this like cascade of effects because you're not addressing the tension that starts like in the back of your neck.
You're
It's
not.
not just your forehead. And I think a lot of people think it's just your eyebrows, your forehead. They don't realize how connected that tension is. So you brought up frownies being one of the frownies and like facial massage and fascia release as like root cause addressers versus those symptom cause addressers. So, can you go into like how frownies work, how as an expert like what you think of them, how that facial massage can kind of work and help be like you said not an alternative but just a better solution?
Yes. Yes. So, I feel that frownies are a good complement to being in touch with what's going on in the forehead, the scalp, and the neck. I I don't believe that, yes, I do believe that putting frownies on and keeping them on overnight, it lifts and it prevents that movement from happening. Additionally, we need to be addressing the movement in, so before I ever do frownies, I do exercises in the forehead to loosen up the tissue, get circulation going in the scalp, in the back of the neck. Then I put my frownies on, and once I have my frownies on, I do additional lifting and holding while they're drying to help them to dry in a lifted place. And then that's a nice little assistant while you sleep to hold them there. But they're a complement to other things that you can do.
That's so brilliant. Okay, I'm going to try your method of the massage, put them on, and then lift and hold. Also, I've been neglecting scalp massage, so I'm definitely going to do that tonight with this because with all the other things, sometimes like that I'm doing in my wellness, sometimes I skip things that are really important. So I'm going to be doing
I
scalp massage
understand.
tonight.
I do the same thing. I do the same. There's so many things I want to do in my wellness. And I'm like, okay, well, today this is the one that's going to win out. It's got to be your
Exactly.
focus.
Exactly. It's hard. I mean, I was posting on social media and telling my husband, I'm like, listen, I will never ever claim to be low maintenance. Non-toxic, yes. Low maintenance, never. Never.
Never.
There's too many things that I want to try, even just from like a fun, nerdy standpoint. So tonight, I'm going to listen back to this episode to make sure I get it correctly, and I'm going to follow your step by step for frownies because I think that sounds delightful.
It
Okay,
is. It's
so
so
yeah,
wonderful.
it sounds
Oh,
amazing.
and scalp, if you have no time for anything else, scalp massage is one of the best things that you can do.
Really?
Yes, yes, because um your SCM muscle comes up here and attaches and creates tightness here. When you have tightness here, that can affect your ear health. It can affect your eye health. When you have tightness in the back of the neck, it can affect drainage and circulation. So just massaging your head, and another way too is like grabbing the hair and
Ooh.
getting deep and moving that tissue and alternating, that is key, very key. And using like even maybe a gua sha comb in the hair. I have one
Ooh.
of those, and like I find points in my head that I'm like, oh my goodness, I didn't even know that was tight there. And rub, rub, rub. Yeah.
That sounds delightful. Watching you do that feels good on my scalp. If you guys aren't watching this on YouTube, and you can, make sure you do watch it on YouTube because there's a lot of real-time demonstrations that are going to be so beneficial. But I'll also make sure to post some clips on social media so that even if people don't, they can see the different tips. Okay, so I think that's a great segue. We're talking about tension in the back of the neck, and that affects lymphatic drainage, that affects our tension. So with that, posture really comes into play. Why does posture matter for skin vitality, for beauty, and just overall wellness?
Well, it's not only just of the face, it's overall wellness of the body. So just moving your head forward 1 inch increases the weight of the head 10 pounds. So if you're 4 inches forward, you are increasing the burden on your neck 40 pounds. And then what that does is you're forward, well, the body has to compensate because you'll fall over if you keep that. So then that starts to affect the hips. It can affect your feet. They start to go out. Your knees start to go in. There's all different things that happen when we don't have good posture. Uh, and understand that different aspects of the body are reflected in the face. So when we're talking about, like, say, the digestive tract is mirrored in the cheeks. If something's going on in your large intestine, it shows up in the cheeks and on the forehead. If something's going on in the rectum area, it shows up on your chin. Small intestine shows up here. Then let's talk about just the structures of the body. Um, what's going on in the feet shows up on the chin. So you might have some fascial tightness in through here. Your legs, your knees are the sides of the mouth, calves are here, thighs are here. Your spine is reflected in your nose. So
Wow.
I can look at somebody's face and see where they might be off in their body because it's all connected. The meridians in the body, the fascia in the body, the sheets of fascia wrap around the body. They'll start at the big toe, wrap around the back of the head, and make their end at the eyebrow. So if you've got something going on in your big toe, this might show it up through here. So posture is key in those aspects, but it's also key in limiting what gets to the tissues of the face. If we have bad posture and this is tight, major lymph flows down the side, down along the side of the mouth, along the jawline, and down. So if we've got a roadblock there, we're going to have puffiness in the tissues. So the cells are going to be living in a fish tank. and also circulation that needs to make its way up. So here's where a conventional esthetician and a holistic esthetician differ. A conventional esthetician will talk about hyaluronic acid and exfoliating the skin and putting a moisturizer on and all these things to work topically on the skin. But we also have to understand that what we eat, what we drink is delivered to our cells via circulatory system. And that's how our cells get oxygenated. That's how they get nutrient delivery and hydration.
Mm.
So if we're blocking our circulation, if it's not so great, cell turnover slows down. And a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm getting into my 60s and my face is starting to see a change in my face." It's like, no, it's not because you're in your 60s. It's because you have forward shoulder posture and your head's like this down in your phone, that sort of thing. Or you sleep
Mm.
on a pillow like this all night that blocks circulation and detoxification, or you chew on one side of the mouth all the time that causes asymmetry that blocks the proper flow of things. So it's understanding that it's not the number of years you have, it's keeping those systems properly moving and fed and hydrated. Yeah.
Wow. So you could be using all the best skincare in the world, but if you're cutting off that lymphatic flow, sounds like it's really going to affect aging. It's going to affect your skin so much worse. So it's really important to have that solid posture. What are some of your favorite tips for improving posture at home?
So every morning I start with neck exercises that help to bring the chin back and then help with strengthening the back of the neck. So I will lay on a bed with my shoulders just at the edge of the bed and my neck and face off the bed. And I'll do almost like a ducking and then bringing the chin back and then bringing my head up motion. I'll do that 10 times and then I'll rotate side to side 10 sets, back and forth. And then I'll move back on the bed and be almost like in Sphinx pose and do that same motion where I dip my head, bring it back and up. So those are my neck exercises that I do. And then I'll go into the bathroom and I'll take a washcloth and I'll lift my hand up and hold at the wrist and then hold that for 10 seconds. And usually I'll do calf exercises while I'm doing this. So I'm strengthening my calves and giving a straight line up through my body. And I'll come down with it behind my back, still holding my hand. And then I will take that cloth and drop it with my right hand, come behind my back with my left hand and grab the cloth and try to come together so that I have it. And then I'll repeat that on the side. So those are exercises that I do not in my exercise mode. And then when I'm in my exercise mode, I'll take 2 yoga blocks. I'll place my head down on them and I'll be kneeling. And I'll take my hands, my right hand starting at the back and my left hand starting at my lower back. And then I'll switch and I'll switch.
Mm.
And I'll do that 20 times. And then I'll have my arms out to the side. My head's still down on those low yoga blocks. I'm still in a kneeling position. And I'll bring my arms up above my head, make my way back. Do 10 sets of those. And then I'll start on the ground and take my right hand, place it on the back of the side of my head, and do basically a push-up, just using the side of the body and then the other side to help open up the back and strengthen the neck.
That sounds delightful. Okay, that one laying on the bed,
Oh.
I'm gonna try that after this. That sounds really nice.
It's a workout, and that's what addresses the C6 and C7 hump that people
Mhm.
start to get. It helps to create that strength to go back the other way. And then
Yeah.
exercises for the shoulder. You can stand in a doorway and hold the jambs of the door and step forward, put your head up and just really push your whole body forward as you press your shoulders back. That's a great stretch for this area.
Yeah, that sounds like an amazing heart opener. Okay, so that's phenomenal. And I know that a lot of people are concerned about the neck hump. We're seeing people getting them younger and younger because of our forward hunching. I mean, our society, especially I know my generation, everyone works in tech, everyone's on their phones all the time, but really everyone. I mean, we're constantly like hunching forward, holding the phone, looking down, or just like stressed and like hunching. And I'm seeing it manifest younger and younger and people, and that does concern me. So having these exercises to do, I think, is a really great way for people to kind of mitigate some of that. Obviously, like spending less time on devices is never a bad thing, but I think those stretches and exercises can really help people open up their heart, open up, like get their neck back in alignment and look and feel so much better.
Yeah,
Okay,
and you
so
can make some adjustments too by maybe getting a selfie stick and holding your phone up with a selfie stick.
yeah.
Um, just trying to see. And when you're walking, don't look down when you walk. Always look ahead. I see people run and their heads are down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I mean, it's also, I feel like, mentally healthy to just look where you're going and be present and not always be plugged in. I have a lot of thoughts on being overly plugged in as somebody whose career is being plugged in.
Right.
I'm like, I see the negatives of it. And I always say if my job wasn't social media, I don't think I would have social media. Like personally,
No.
I'm not into it. Okay, so you mentioned a lot with the symmetry of the face. And
Yes.
I know one thing that you are an expert on is how tongue placement can affect symmetry and how your face looks. Can you explain this to the audience? Because I find it so fascinating.
Yeah. So a lot of issues in the body, in the jaw, in just symmetry in the body are because we don't keep our tongue. And number one, our tongue is not strong. Number two, it's not in the proper place in the body. And some people learn at a young age to sleep with their mouth open, which narrows the palate, causes them to be nose breather or mouth breathers instead of nose breathers. That can lead to sleep apnea, end up with on a CPAP machine. So tongue in the wrong place can cause the jaw one side to like stick out more than the other. It can cause this to hang down underneath the neck. Um, so I really love these tools, the beauty balloon tools. I use these to exercise my tongue. I feel like the difference between exercising and exercising with weights strengthens you differently. And I feel it's the same way with using these beauty balloon tools. Like for example, I'm going to show you an exercise that I do. This is one of my favorite ones that helps to build the strength of the tongue. It lifts it up and it at the same time helps define your jawline. So this looks like two triangles joined at the apex. I'm going to put it right below my lip. And then I'm going to basically do a barbell curl using my tongue.
Cool.
Now watch underneath here how this affects my neck.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it just snatches right up.
It snatches right up. So having flappiness here is because your tongue's weak. It's not sitting in the roof
Oh.
of the mouth. Another exercise that I like to do is this one. And this one helps to train the arch of the tongue because where should your tongue sit? So if these are your teeth and this little curved part of my palm here is the roof of your mouth, tongue should sit right about like that. And it
So,
should be staying up in the roof of the mouth.
okay. Do you
And
want it
when
like
you
suctioned?
pretty much, yeah,
Okay.
you want all of the tongue up there. And if you make the noise like that's about where your tongue should be.
Okay.
So I like using the original triangle from Beauty Balloon, and I put the apex in the right behind my teeth, and then I bring my tongue up in front of that.
Wow.
And look under here before I do it.
Mm.
So there's like 50 different exercises that you can do with it
Wow.
to address different aspects of what's going in the mouth. You can proper tongue placement, and also the combination of proper tongue placement and teeth strengthening helps your cheekbones. So a lot of people like to drink smoothies and such. And the problem with smoothies is that you don't chew, you just swallow. And so the teeth and how they are attached, which is by fascia, are becoming weak. And
Mm.
so practicing eating foods where you have to chew actually is great for your jawline. It's great for your cheeks. So I'll show you this particular exercise. I'm using the butterfly. I'm going to bite down, and at the same time, I'm going to wrap my teeth or my lips around this. And you'll see how it helps jawline, nasolabial folds, cheekbones.
Oh yeah, it's like a facelift.
Mm-hmm.
It literally looks like you just apply contour. That's amazing.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of those. When people ask me what are the two main things that you really believe in to help the face, the beauty balloon tool is key because most people don't do anything with their tongue to strengthen it. And then also facial cupping, because I feel like it
Mm.
creates a space and helps with tight fascia.
Yes, love that. Okay, so where do people get, say, beauty balloon?
Yeah, it's beauty balloon. So it's beautyballoon.com. And actually use Nikki 10, all caps, and a 10, and they can save 10%. They're actually
Amazing.
having a sale until the 17th, which I don't know if this will go out before then, but right now it's like 40% off.
I think it will this won't be out yet,
Okay.
but I will make sure to put your discount code in the show notes. So if you guys are really interested in this, go to the show notes and I will have Nikki's discount code in there so that you can shop them with a discount. I want to try them now. That's crazy. That's
Oh, they're great.
amazing.
They're great. I do them every day while I'm
That's
walking my
amazing.
dog. I fit them in.
Smart. I mean, no one really knows depending on what you're doing.
No.
It's super subtle. I love that so much. I definitely want to try that. I've been hearing more about tongue placement and all of that just but like not knowing too much about it. So I'm really
Hmm.
excited to have some of those tools and to work on like that lifting as young as I can. So I love
Right.
that. Yeah. So overall, I would love to know, aside from like what we've discussed today, what are some of your favorite holistic practices?
So every morning I start with a glass of water. I do some trace minerals in that just to help hydrate my body. Then I do the neck exercises that I talked about and the towel exercise. Then I'll do 10 minutes of face yoga where I'm working. I usually start at the neck and work my way up. And some days I focus on different areas of concern. Then I'll go and do 30 minutes of either mat Pilates or weight Pilates. That just aligns with where I am. I do 30 minutes of walking in the morning and 30 minutes of walking at night. Usually I'll do 3 meals a day, and they always have some kind of vegetable in them and a good amount of protein. I drink a lot of water throughout the day, and I try to change it up with different things to make it interesting, like a little bit of apple and cinnamon, a little bit of cucumber in the water. Like I said, I start out with the trace minerals. There is a drink that I do in the morning that I absolutely love, which is a matcha with some adaptogens in it,
Mm.
reishi mushroom, maca, and ashwagandha. So that's part of my morning ritual. But I'm very ritualistic. I do spend 15 minutes of time in meditation, and I do about 10 to 15 minutes or until I fall asleep at night of just visualizing success in the next day, doing some deep breathing. Deep breathing is also key throughout my day. I'll do box breathing just to activate my parasympathetic nervous system.
That's
How
huge.
about
Yeah.
you? How about you?
Oh, thank you. No one's ever asked me that on a show before. Well, I have quite the extra routine, let me tell you. No, I love everything that I'm doing. My supplement routine right now is really focused on hormone health and gut. Those are some of my big things that I've been working on in the past just couple of years. So I actually have been taking raw beef reproductive organs. Really impactful for my cycle. Really impactful. Been really big on probiotics as well and getting those minerals in. So one way I do that is through Energy Bits, which is a spirulina supplement, and then another way that I do that is through Shilajit. Really big on
Mhm,
Shilajit.
mhm.
Really into working on. I am into cycle syncing. So I
Yes.
build my schedule and my life around my cycle. So ovulations when I PR, folliculars when I build up, luteals when I taper down, and then menstrual, which for me will be next week, is when I do nothing but like chill Pilates. So I'm kind of in that luteal phase right now where I'm a little bit more chill, like lighter workouts, just trying not
Key.
to, not stacking things. That's been huge. And then really big on recovery, like lots of acupressure, lots of red light, uh, posture work. I've been going back to my chiropractor, and then lymphatic. I do a lot of lymphatic work at home, but then monthly lately, I've been treating myself to a Brazilian lymphatic massage, and it has been the biggest treat. And so I was really excited to get you on here. I've been wanting an expert to talk about lymphatic health because for me, it's changed how I look and how I feel. Last year, I did like a little 30-day challenge where I filmed my face every day just doing facial massage and lymphatic massage. And I feel like I look like a different person. Like
Mhm.
the puffiness is gone. I feel way more glowy. I feel like I look more like how I'm supposed to look, if that makes sense.
Yes, yes.
So
All
yeah.
wonderful things. Yes, the cycle syncing is really key. I feel like in our day and age, a lot of people kind of, or a lot of women, I feel, are following more of a masculine approach to their
Mhm.
workout. And I've even had clients that have felt like maybe they a little bit of shaming if they weren't working out within their social group in that way. And what I found in my practice is when women work out that way, they tend to have a lot of issues with breakouts along
Mhm.
the jawline, it, and hormonal, because they're not addressing the hormonal needs. And I feel like what you talked about um, with recovery and also the organs, that's such a good support for the liver, because it matches identically what the liver needs, and so supporting that with those workouts with that is really key. And
Yeah.
then the
Oh,
Shilajit with helping to detox your body. Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, I've been really feeling good with it. Yeah, and the cycle syncing, that's one I discuss a lot because even for me before when I used to lift 6 days a week to now where I lift 3 days a week, do a lot of Pilates and cycle sync everything. I you lose weight. And I think a lot of women are scared that if they take 5, 6 days off of lifting, then they
Yeah.
will gain weight. But I'm like, no, because a lot of you're going to hold on to protective weight if you're putting your body under constant duress and stress. It's going to think it needs to hold on to that protective fat.
Yes.
So I'm like, actually, it's pretty crazy if the goal is weight loss, especially in the abdominal area. Sometimes the answer isn't pushing.
Less.
Yeah, it's not always pushing more and more. Sometimes it's
No.
actually like don't fight your body, like move with it. So I'm
Yes.
big on that. So
And something else that I've found with my clients too is when they are doing those exercises, quite often they're not getting within 45 minutes to an hour after working out, they are not getting a meal that is sufficient to honor and support those needs, like
mm,
enough protein and enough uh, carbs to help maintain that lean mass. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I think women do the most and sometimes less is actually more. Sometimes less fasting, less pushing. There's a time and place for everything, but I think women can be just like go go go. And sometimes the answer is maybe a little bit more just abiding and a little bit more like being. So,
Mhm.
with that, what are some of your current health goals as the expert? I would love to hear what you're working on.
Yeah, so I started this journey of health coaching about 4 years ago. And in that time, just came to understand things that had manifested in my body, such as not great posture, forward shoulder posture, which impacted a lot of the rest of what's going on in my face and neck. And so my goal is to just have a strong structure to be able to reverse the effects of years of neglect, or not really, not even neglect, because I've always been a very mindful person, not knowing, not understanding the path, and thinking that, oh, I'm just getting older, and so the neck is just doing that naturally. So um, the goal for me is to help correct that, also to be vibrant and healthy. So I like to focus on all of the things that tend to slow people down in their old age, like getting into more squatting and helping my body with that, doing more with going even deeper into Pilates and into my yoga practices, because I felt like as my body changed, my balance changed, and it wasn't great. And so correcting manifestations in my feet and in my calves that happened over a lifetime. So my focus is structural, but then also it's been a mindful path for me to look at the thoughts that come through and understand where they came from and what the feeling is that I have with them, and to accept that, and then move forward with, well, how, what's a different way, what's a better feeling way to move forward. And then also really keep practicing on focusing on what it is I want to create, as opposed to what it is I don't want. I think those are the main focuses for me. Structural, my eating is great. We've got that down. Um, and just mental focus that is always forward thinking and thinking about what's possible, not I what is present, that is a creation of what I was thinking about in the past.
Love that. Amazing. Well, how can people find you, connect with your practice, with your social media, all the things?
So they can find me. All of my different social things are all Nikki _R_ face it. And they can find me on TikTok, on YouTube, and also Instagram. And on TikTok and Instagram, I place usually a minute and a half types of exercise, which rotate. So for a week, I'll focus on the forehead. Then the next week, I'll focus on the eyes, then the cheeks, then the mouth, then jaw and shoulders, and then I'll recycle through it again. And then on YouTube, I will take a week's worth of work and I'll put together a whole routine, so they can find routines, whole face yoga routines there, which also include fascia work. I have my tool works there too, so you can find videos on how to put on frownies, how to use the beauty balloon tools, how to do gua sha, facial cupping, um, microcurrent, understanding what LED light therapy is, all of those things.
Wow, that is amazing. So, if you guys have not yet followed Nikki, I'm sure a lot of you guys who are listening have, because she is quite successful on social media. But if you have not yet, make sure to do so, and you can join me in following along with her tutorials. I know I've been nerding out watching your videos, Nikki, and I'm excited to
Thank
continue to
you.
do so. And I'm excited to do that scalp massage tonight. Thank you so much for sitting down with me today. I have learned so much from chatting with you, and I am so excited for my audience to listen to this.
Oh, it's a pleasure. And it's so nice to be able to reach all different audiences that really can benefit and have some preventative things that improve the vibrancy of their lives going forward. Yeah.
Amen. Couldn't agree more. You guys, thank you so much for listening today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will chat soon.
Bye.